Stop. Take a breath and hold your scroll for just a moment, because what I'm about to share is going to sound utterly unbelievable, bordering on insane. But once you hear the truth, the shocking clarity of it will hit you, and you'll realize precisely why your life, your goals, and your ambitious plans haven't worked out the way you intended. Think about this. A single man, long dead, who passed away over 5 centuries ago. He never met you, never knew you'd exist, never witnessed the modern world you navigate. Yet, right now, in this moment, his philosophy, his chillingly accurate understanding of human nature, is controlling your life more profoundly than you are. His core ideas are running through every subtle conversation you have, influencing every crucial decision you make, and dictating the power dynamics every time someone takes advantage of you. Every moment you feel powerless, sidelined, or manipulated, that's him. That's Niccolò Machiavelli. And here is the dark, twisted reality of the situation. The people who are undeniably winning around you, that person who effortlessly seems to get whatever they desire, the individual who walks into a room and instantly commands the attention and respect of everyone present. They know his secrets. They are operating, whether consciously or not, directly from his ancient, powerful playbook. And you, tragically, have been walking around without the rule book. I am not talking about some airy-fairy motivational platitude or superficial pep talk. I am going to show you a series of insights right now that will genuinely, physically rewire your brain. I mean, it will fundamentally change how you process information, how you see faces in a crowd, and how you interpret spoken words. Because once you truly understand what I am about to share, the invisible mechanisms of human power, you absolutely cannot go back to thinking like you did before. It's a cognitive upgrade, a new language that allows you to read minds, not through magic, but through pure, unadulterated pattern recognition. There is an invisible, high-stakes game of power, influence, and perception happening all around you every day, in every interaction, from the boardroom to a simple family dinner. Most people, the vast majority, don't even know they are players, let alone understand the objective. They believe life is random, that good things simply happen to good people, and that hard work is the sole determinant of success. And that precisely is why they consistently lose, why they are taken advantage of, and why they remain stuck in cycles of frustration. Machiavelli figured this out during his tenure in the tumultuous Italian government in the 1500s. He wasn't a king, he was an observer, a political operator watching powerful families rise and fall, witnessing leaders gain and maintain their grip on chaotic states. He began noticing unbreakable, repeating patterns. His startling conclusion: the people who truly succeed aren't inherently the smartest, the nicest, or even the most talented. They are the ones who dare to understand human nature at its most fundamental, brutal core, the real parts, the dark, self-interested parts we collectively pretend don't exist. He meticulously wrote it all down, the true, unfiltered rules of power. He detailed how people actually behave when you strip away the nice words, the polite social masks, and the fake smiles. He laid out how to read complex situations before they even unfold, and how to deliberately position yourself so you always hold the decisive advantage. For 500 years, this deep knowledge has been quietly passed down, a whispered code among the people who genuinely run the world and control its resources. But today, the silence ends. You are about to learn 6 specific tactical mental frameworks, not mere theory, not abstract philosophy, that you can begin integrating and using immediately. These are frameworks of tactical thinking that work in your professional life, your personal relationships, your financial goals, and your entire future. These are the core patterns that create the chasm between people who get relentlessly used and those who consistently achieve results. Be warned, this information is not comfortable. It will force you to confront things about yourself you'd rather ignore. You are going to realize with a cold shock exactly how many times you've been played, how many times you've been the pawn in someone else's move. You'll look back at critical conversations and think, oh no, that's what was truly happening beneath the surface. But that sharp internal discomfort, that is the sound of your brain rapidly upgrading. By the time we finish, you will notice something profound. You'll look at people differently. You'll listen to conversations with a new acute ear. You will begin catching subtle signals, hidden intentions, and the psychological games being played that you never registered before. And once you see it, you can't ever unsee it. Your mind will quite literally operate on a different, more powerful frequency than the majority of people around you. So, here's my requirement for you. Don't just passively listen to this video. You must actually pay attention and mentally commit to applying these ideas. Because these 6 frameworks are the absolute difference between spending your entire life merely reacting to the actions of others and finally controlling your own path, setting your own terms. This is the difference between being a perpetual player in someone else's game and becoming the one who dictates the game. Ready? Let's crack your mind open now. Number 1. Master the art of strategic silence, the weapon nobody guards against. I want you to reflect on this for a moment. When was the last time you felt that desperate, burning need to explain yourself, to justify your actions, to meticulously prove that you were right? That constant, reflexive need to explain your position, your actions, or your motives. That is your single biggest weakness in any social or professional dynamic. Listen carefully. Every time you over-explain, you dilute your power. Every single time you rush to defend yourself when no one has even explicitly asked for a defense, you project a subtle but powerful signal of guilt or insecurity. And every time you nervously rush to fill the silence in a conversation with unnecessary words, you are functionally handing over the reins of control to whoever is listening. Machiavelli grasped a psychological truth that most people miss entirely. Silence is not an absence, it is a weapon. When you strategically remain quiet, the human brain abhors that vacuum. People will inevitably start projecting their own fears, insecurities, and assumptions onto you. They begin assuming you know more than you've revealed, that you are smarter or more strategic than you've let on. They create powerful, intriguing stories in their heads about your competence, and you didn't have to utter a single word to achieve that effect. Think about the most influential people you know, the true power brokers. Do they run around constantly explaining their moves? Do they justify every single decision to every curious ear? Absolutely not. They operate in a deliberate sphere of silence. They allow their results and their actions to speak for themselves. And when they do choose to speak, every syllable carries immense weight and counts for something significant. When you truly master this art of strategic silence, several powerful dynamics instantly shift in your favor. First, people reveal their true selves. As soon as you stop filling every conversational gap, others will rush to fill the void, and in that rush, they tell you everything. Their deepest insecurities, their true hidden intentions, their weaknesses, and their operational limits. They essentially hand you a precise map of how to navigate or neutralize them. Second, you prevent stupid, self-inflicted mistakes. The vast majority of people's failures can be traced back to talking too much. They promise things they cannot deliver. They share complex plans before they are fully solidified, and they prematurely warn their competition before a move is even executed. Silence acts as a powerful shield, protecting you from your own mouth. Third, you become fundamentally unpredictable, and unpredictability is the purest form of power. When adversaries cannot accurately figure out your next move or what you are truly thinking, they cannot plan effectively against you. You transform into a potent mystery, and human beings naturally respect what they cannot fully understand or categorize. I'm not suggesting you become a complete mute. I'm advocating for deliberation with your words. When someone asks a question that you do not need to answer to advance your goals, simply do not answer it. When someone attempts to bait you into a pointless argument to waste your energy, maintain your silence. And when someone demands to know your next strategic move, offer a calm spiel and smoothly pivot the subject. Machiavelli himself said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves." One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Sometimes the most cunning move of the fox is simply to say nothing at all. Practice this framework immediately. In your next crucial conversation, aggressively resist the urge to fill every silence. Let the other person talk, and watch, with detached curiosity, the avalanche of self-revealing information they will hand you. You will be genuinely shocked at the magnitude of power you gain simply by keeping your mouth strategically closed. Number 2. Study people like a scientist. Studies patterns, the ultimate predictor. What is the ultimate difference that separates the true masters of any domain from the perpetual amateurs? Amateurs are relentlessly focused on their own internal state and feelings, while masters are obsessively focused on others. Most people drift through life completely blind to the intricate, fascinating humans surrounding them. They fail to pay the critical attention required. They don't study human behavior as a discipline, and they foolishly take people at their surface-level, stated value. Then, they act completely surprised and devastated when someone inevitably disappoints them, betrays them, or uses them for self-gain. Here is the inconvenient truth you must accept. Every person you encounter is running a predictable program. They possess identifiable patterns, specific triggers, exploitable weaknesses, and powerful, consistent desires. If you can learn to read these fundamental patterns, you gain the extraordinary ability to predict their moves long before they make them. You can understand their true core motivations and effortlessly avoid their traps before they are even set. Machiavelli dedicated his entire life to this cold, rigorous observation of people. He concluded that humans are not nearly as random or complex as we like to pretend. We are, in fact, quite predictable once you know the specific variables to look for. And the individuals who master this predictive skill navigate the rough seas of life with an almost unbelievable, eerie ease. Start with the tangible, the physical, body language. Watch how people physically move and react when they are under pressure or uncomfortable. Notice the small, telling details of what they do with their hands when they are intentionally omitting or bending the truth. Pay acute attention to who they subconsciously glance at when they laugh in a group. That micro-signal often indicates who they value most or who they seek approval from. These tiny, non-verbal signals convey an entire dictionary of information that their spoken words desperately try to conceal. Next, shift your focus to the narrative they construct. Listen to how people talk about others. This is a massive tell. When someone is constantly engaging in toxic gossip, tearing down other people's reputations, or speaking in a perpetually derogatory manner, they are unequivocally showing you the true dark nature of their own character. When a person consistently adopts the identity of a victim, framing all events as misfortunes inflicted upon them, they are signaling that they will never, under any circumstances, take full responsibility for their life's outcomes. When someone compulsively brags, inflating their achievements and status, they are instantly revealing a profound core of insecurity that requires external validation. People tell you exactly who they are, often loudly and repeatedly, if you simply tune your ear to the truth beneath the words. But here is the advanced level of Machiavellian observation. Learn what people genuinely value. Some people prioritize respect and status above all else. Others are fundamentally motivated by money or material gain. Some crave attention, the spotlight, and perpetual validation. Others are driven entirely by the desire for security and stability. Once you definitively know what a specific person values most highly, you have discovered their currency. You know what truly motivates them, you know what they will sacrifice for, and you know precisely how to work with or against them effectively. Furthermore, watch how people respond under conditions of extreme stress. That is when the carefully constructed social mask drops instantly. The seemingly nice person who becomes irrationally difficult, petty, or aggressive under pressure. That is who they really are at their core. The leader who remains completely calm, focused, and rational when chaos reigns supreme. That is the definition of authentic, enduring strength. Crisis is the ultimate revealer of truth. Finally, pay deep attention to patterns over the long term. Someone who has broken trust in a previous relationship or situation is statistically and psychologically likely to break it again. Someone who is demonstrably dishonest with others will eventually be dishonest with you. Someone who is unreliable and inconsistent in small, insignificant things will catastrophically fail you in the most important, big things. Past behavior is the single most reliable predictor of future behavior. Machiavelli succinctly noted, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are." This is your mandate. Watch what people do, not what they merely say. Start training this critical skill today. Choose one person in your life, a colleague, an acquaintance, a friend, and commit to studying them for an entire week. Watch their patterns, catalog their contradictions, and see if you can accurately predict their reaction to certain inputs. You will be astonished at how transparent and readable people become once you prioritize paying rigorous attention. Number 3, never reveal your true intentions, the power of the shielded core. This third framework is guaranteed to make some people profoundly uncomfortable, yet it remains one of the most critical, timeless lessons Machiavelli ever imparted. Here is the absolute rule. The very moment people know what you really want, you instantly surrender your primary leverage. The instant they can see your full hand, your core objective, your vulnerabilities, and your ultimate trajectory, they can accurately counter you. The moment they fully grasp the mechanics of your game, they can effectively play against you and manipulate your actions. Consider the consequence of oversharing. When you tell most people your biggest, most ambitious dream, what is their reflexive response? If they are competitive or insecure, they will unconsciously or overtly attempt to beat you to it or sabotage your progress. If they are fundamentally insecure, they will attempt to talk you out of it, projecting their own limits and fears onto your ambition. And if they are truly strategic, they will immediately begin calculating how to use your stated ambition for their own benefit, regardless of your success. Very few people, statistically, will offer genuine, unfiltered support once they are fully aware of your deepest, most valuable goals. This is precisely why smart, high-performing people operate differently. They employ decoy goals. They talk openly and confidently about surface-level, manageable ambitions, while quietly, relentlessly working on the things that genuinely matter to their future. They intentionally allow people to think they understand them, while the master strategy is operating on a completely separate, more advanced level. Imagine you are planning a massive, life-altering change, a career switch, a move, or a major new venture. The amateur announces it to everyone, solicits advice from people who have never achieved similar success, immediately deals with an onslaught of negativity and doubt, and then often fails to follow through because the pressure of public watching and judging becomes paralyzing. The professional keeps their mouth completely shut. They prepare with meticulous discipline in silence and build their new foundation in complete privacy. And when they finally execute their move, it is already a fait accompli. It's done. There is no room for debate, no need for permission, only the undeniable impact of results. This principle applies across all domains of your existence. Never show all your cards during the initial negotiation or first meeting. Resist the urge to reveal your full, complex personality to new acquaintances immediately. Most critically, shield your vulnerabilities until you have absolute ironclad certainty that the recipient will not exploit them to gain an advantage. Mystery generates powerful respect. Oversharing manufactures catastrophic vulnerability. Some people will inevitably label this approach as dishonest or manipulative. But here is the mature reality. Everyone is playing this game of concealed intentions, whether they are aware of it or not. The person who loudly claims to be totally transparent is simply unaware of the deep psychological layers they are inherently hiding. The person who asserts they have nothing to hide is often the most guarded, because they haven't even deciphered their own operational game. The critical difference is that you, the Machiavellian thinker, will be fully conscious of this dynamic. You will proactively control the image and narrative you present, rather than allowing external forces to define you. You will strategically reveal information that serves your goals and ruthlessly protect the information that could be used against you. As Machiavelli famously stated, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Your command is to use this powerful disconnect to your strategic advantage. To practice this the next time someone presses you for details about your future plans, give them the vague general version. Share only the non-essential parts and keep the absolutely vital core strategy protected and to yourself. Watch how this immediate shift fundamentally changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. Observe how you begin moving with greater speed, efficiency, and conviction when you are not weighed down by the constant negative opinions and expectations of everyone around you. Number 4. Control the narrative before someone else does. The storyteller's advantage. I'm giving you a key insight right now that will permanently alter how you view every single human interaction and event you encounter. Whoever defines the story controls the power. When any significant event occurs, a success, a failure, a crisis, it is inherently meaningless until someone steps in and explains what it means. And the person or entity that gets to decisively explain it first almost always wins the ensuing power struggle. This is precisely why politicians race to issue immediate statements, why major companies rush to release carefully framed information, and why certain individuals are always the first to spread news or gossip. They understand that the very first story, the initial framing, is the one that sticks immovably in the public mind. Most people remain tragically passive about their own narrative. They passively permit others to define who they are. They allow negative rumors to spread and solidify without a strong, swift counter-response. They let small misunderstandings fester and build into full-blown reputation damage. Then they are perplexed when their reputation is tarnished or when people fail to take their ambitions seriously. The Machiavellian thinker operates on a completely different level. They meticulously and deliberately craft their own story. They are in absolute control of how they wish to be perceived. They do not wait for external factors or people to explain who they are. They proactively and constantly show you exactly what they want you to see, hear, and believe. This is not about outright lying. It is about strategic framing. Consider a scenario where you make a genuine mistake at work. The passive, unstrategic person stays silent and desperately hopes that nobody notices the error. The Machiavellian person addresses the mistake first, immediately framing it not as a failure, but as a critical learning experience. They demonstrate what immediate, proactive steps they are taking to improve, and then decisively move on from the event. Same mistake, fundamentally different controlled narrative. Or imagine someone is maliciously spreading false rumors about you. The weak, common response is to become emotional, defensive, and desperate. The strong, strategic response is to get decisively ahead of the rumor. Address it calmly, professionally, and clearly. Tell your version of the event, ensuring your composed, rational response makes the original rumor look petty, desperate, and insignificant. You have, in that single action, completely flipped the power dynamic. In any competitive situation, the person who merely reacts to unfolding events will achieve only an average outcome. The person who proactively tells a compelling, powerful story about their personal journey, framing their challenges as deliberate growth and controlling the tone of the conversation, that is the person who ultimately wins. The circumstances are identical, but the narrative is the factor that differentiates winning from losing. This power extends to everyday, mundane interactions. When you make an error, do not allow others the time and space to create a negative story about you in their minds. Acknowledge the error, explain your initial thinking, and clearly articulate your plan going forward. You have just taken control of the situation instead of remaining at the mercy of their often negative interpretations. Even social media, which appears spontaneous, is a highly refined example of narrative control. People carefully curate their online lives, showing only success and hiding failure, broadcasting happiness while suppressing struggle. Is it the absolute, complete truth? Number. But it is strategic truth designed to create a specific, influential perception. Those who master this curation wield significant influence. Machiavelli observed, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Your value, your status, is defined by you, not by your job title, not by your circumstances, but by the story you empower." Start practicing this immediately. Reflect deeply on how people currently perceive you. Is that perception accurate to your goals? Most importantly, is that perception serving you? If the answer is no, begin reshaping it today through the deliberate precision of your words, the conviction of your actions, and the intentionality of your presentation. You must never wait for others to tell your story. Number 5, embrace calculated decisiveness, the edge of action. This fifth framework addresses the critical point where most people's inherent hesitation fatally interferes with their ability to achieve real, impactful success. I'm going to challenge a comfortable modern belief right now. Being indecisive is not a subtle strategy for winning. It is a clear-cut strategy for losing. Now, I need you to understand my meaning precisely. I am not advocating for reckless, impulsive choices, nor am I telling you to ignore potential consequences. I am asserting that if you consistently prioritize your temporary emotional comfort over strategic effectiveness and necessary action, you will be defeated every single time. Machiavelli wrote The Prince primarily to instruct leaders on the cold, hard mechanics of gaining and securely keeping power. One of his most enduring and challenging core teachings was this: to maintain power, you must sometimes make extremely difficult, rational decisions that comfortable, ordinary people will simply never understand or approve of. Sometimes you must ruthlessly cut off unproductive people, decisively end draining situations, and make moves that appear intense or even harsh because the only alternative is to display weakness. And weakness, in the eyes of the strategic, is an open invitation for problems and exploitation. Think about the people you know who are paralyzed by indecision. They are the ones who are consistently walked on, used, and taken advantage of. They cannot manage to say the powerful word no. They fail to set firm, protective boundaries, and they tolerate difficult, draining people because confrontation feels deeply uncomfortable. Where does this lack of action get them? It leaves them perpetually stressed, surrounded by people who feel entitled to their resources and fundamentally lacking respect. Now, reflect on the truly successful people, the ones who command influence and respect. Are they always prioritizing their comfort? Absolutely not. They are decisive. They are aggressively protective of their limited time and energy. They remove obstacles, both human and situational, without hesitation or excessive emotional deliberation. They make decisions based on the clear measurement of results, not the fleeting state of their feelings. The world may label them as intense or even cold, but they are consistently winning. The essence of calculated decisiveness is not being harsh or cruel. It is being profoundly strategic. It means making every decision based on what effectively serves your long-term goals, not what provides momentary comfort or validation. For example, you have a person in your life who is chronically negative, always draining your emotional energy, and constantly manufacturing unnecessary drama. The indecisive person will keep that connection alive indefinitely because ending it feels intensely uncomfortable and final. The decisive person will remove them cleanly, permanently, and without losing a minute of sleep over the decision. One person sacrifices their peace of mind for the sake of misplaced comfort. The other protects their peace from someone who is clearly undeserving. In any professional venture, if you have a colleague who is demonstrably not contributing, the indecisive leader gives them endless chances, foolishly hoping for a magical improvement. The decisive leader makes the necessary change and finds a more capable replacement. One path guarantees perpetual struggle, the other ensures the potential to thrive. This decisiveness must also be applied internally to your own behavior. Stop making lazy excuses for yourself. Stop being soft on your own lack of discipline. If you committed to waking up early, then you must wake up early. If you said you would complete that difficult project, you must finish it. Be decisively unforgiving with your own lack of commitment. That is where the most powerful, authentic change begins. Machiavelli's most polarizing advice applies here. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. This is not a call to aggression. It is a profound recognition that respect matters exponentially more than approval. Boundaries must matter more than simply being liked. Here is the necessary balance. Be decisively firm in your actions, but never be petty or vindictive. Remove people who drain your vitality, but do not seek revenge. Make the tough calls, but do not be deliberately cruel in the execution. Be strategic, never emotional. That is the sophisticated difference between being effectively decisive and merely being difficult. Number 6. Always have a backup plan, the imperative of options. This final framework may be the single most crucial element for long-term survival and sustained power. The core difference that separates the long-term survivors from the inevitable victims is this. Survivors meticulously ensure they always have multiple options. You know precisely who is most easily destroyed and marginalized in life. It is the person who commits the profound error of putting all their eggs into a single, fragile basket. The person who depends on a single, isolated source of income. The person who relies entirely on one small, insular friend group. The person who builds their entire fragile identity around one singular thing. A job, a relationship, a title. When that single thing inevitably falls apart, they fall apart completely. Machiavellian thinkers, the masters of the game, refuse to operate with such dangerous dependency. They relentlessly diversify everything. They build multiple independent income streams, maintain multiple non-overlapping social circles, develop diverse, marketable skills, and create multiple exit strategies for every major commitment. They are never, under any circumstances, wholly dependent on any single thing or any single person. Why? because they operate with the chilling, clear-eyed realism that life is fundamentally unpredictable and people are demonstrably unreliable. Think about your current financial situation. Could you genuinely survive not just for a month, but for an extended period if your primary source of income vanished tomorrow? Do you have sufficient savings, an alternative income generator, a specialized marketable skill you could deploy, or strong connections in different industries? If your honest answer is no, you are in a state of extreme vulnerability. You are entirely at the mercy of circumstances, which is a position of absolute weakness. Similarly, consider your social infrastructure. Do you have robust connections outside of your main social group? Could you be content and functional alone, if necessary? Do you have viable options if your current location or situation drastically changes? This is not a call for disloyalty. It is a call for non-dependence. You must never be so dependent that the loss of one component utterly destroys you. That level of dependence is not loyalty or commitment. It is weakness disguised as commitment. This principle is essential for your planning. You want to launch a new project. Excellent. What is your precise, detailed contingency plan if that initial project fails or is unexpectedly blocked? You intend to make a major strategic change. Superb. What is your definitive backup plan if the external circumstances suddenly shift against your favor? Going all in on one strategy is romantic and makes for good motivational speeches, but it is dangerously risky. You must always have ironclad contingencies. Observe this dynamic in competition. The person pursuing a critical opportunity with no backup plan approaches it with desperation, accepting whatever meager terms are offered. The person pursuing the exact same opportunity with solid backups has multiple alternatives, is never desperate, and therefore negotiates from a formidable position of self-assured power. Same individuals, radically different outcomes, all dictated by preparation and the availability of options. In a conflict scenario, the person with no backup options immediately becomes emotional and catastrophizes, burning bridges they may need later. The person with viable alternatives remains entirely calm and detached because they know they have the leverage to simply walk away at any moment. That emotional detachment, born of preparation, is pure leverage. This options-based mindset is also your ultimate protection against inevitable disappointment. When you are not strategically dependent on any single person or any singular outcome, setbacks lose their power to wound you. Someone shows their true dark colors? Fine. You have other people, other connections already in place. An adventure or venture doesn't work out as hoped? Annoying, but you have 3 other equally compelling plans already in motion. Nothing can truly and completely destroy your trajectory because you have deliberately built redundancy into the very architecture of your life. Machiavelli advised, "The wise man does at once what the fool does eventually." Do not wait until you are desperate, financially or socially, to begin constructing your options. Start today. Build that second income stream. Master that new marketable skill. Expand your network aggressively. Save more money. Strengthen other non-essential connections. Create the imperative of options for yourself, because the person who is rich in options is the person who holds all the power. So there it is, 6 ancient, powerful mental frameworks that will permanently change how you think, how you move, and how you win the high-stakes game of life. These are not mere polite ideas. They are sophisticated psychological tools, and like any tool, they are neutral in their ethical application. You can and should use them to fiercely protect yourself, to build enduring success, and to ensure you are never again taken advantage of. Or you can choose to ignore them, to continue playing life on the comfortable, easy mode, while you passively wonder why nothing ever seems to work out for you. I know, statistically, that the vast majority of people watching this will do absolutely nothing with this information. They will nod along, maybe drop a comment, and then revert immediately to their passive, regular programming. But a small, elite percentage of you will hear this, process it, and begin applying it today. Those are the individuals who will start seeing results immediately. Conversations will shift in your favor, unexpected opportunities will materialize, and the fundamental power dynamics in your life will radically change. The crucial question for your future is, which group have you decided to join? If you received profound value from this deep dive, do not just consume and leave. Hit that like button now. Share this strategic knowledge with one person who you know desperately needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel. Because we are just beginning to explore this level of high-stakes psychological content. Most channels will offer you only surface-level motivation. We are going deep into the complex psychology and the cold realism that genuinely runs the world. Tell me, drop your affirmation in the comments, and tell me which of these 6 dark frameworks hit you with the most force. Let me know you are truly serious about this path of strategic transformation, because this wisdom is absolutely not meant for everyone. This is for the people who are tired of perpetual losing and are finally ready to learn and play the real game. Remember this final truth. The world does not reward the most comfortable person. It rewards the smartest, the most strategic, and the most ruthlessly prepared. Stop playing by naive rules that keep you weak and start thinking like someone who was born, destined to win. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.